Now, moving on, the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, James Klucha-Veji, has disagreed with the position of the Auditor General on the auditing of subsidiaries of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, that is SSNIT. The Auditor General raised concerns over the appointment of private auditing firms to audit the accounts of some 10 subsidiaries of SSNIT, contrary to the Audit Service regulation. The Auditor General recommended that these 10 companies desist from the Act and liaise with the Office of the Auditor General to appoint auditors for them. But Chairman of the committee disagrees with this position. We have James on Zoom who joins us with details. James, thank you for joining us. If you can hear me, did SSNIT offer any explanation to this phenomenon of private auditors auditing the accounts of their subsidiaries?
Yes, sweetie. So the position of the Director General of SSNIT, Dr. Tinkra, in his justification of this is that, these subsidiaries, 10 of them listed in the Auditor General's report, are actually companies that SSNIT has invested in. Some of them, they do not own a majority share in. There are some private entities and persons who own majority share in them. And so the law says that the Auditor General is the sole auditor of government books, including agencies and departments under government. And so his explanation is that since some of these companies are not wholly owned by SSNIT, it cannot be the case that only the Auditor General would have access to their books. The reason why he also says that they are actually independent entities, even though they have some share in it, they are independent entities. And so they have a different, independent boards and who take charge of their day-to-day work and some of these things. And so it is not wrong at all for them to appoint private auditors to look at their books and report same to the SSNIT.
So was that the same position that the chairman had on this issue?
Yes. So after the SSNIT Director General's explanation, auditors at the committee stepped in and says that according to the law, they still maintain their position on their recommendation. Then chairman of the committee, James Klucha-Veji, then stepped in to disagree with SSNIT, agreeing with the position of the SSNIT DG that, in fact, when these auditings are done by the private entities, since SSNIT is also a shareholder in these companies, whatever they find on the books of this company is brought back to SSNIT and it reflects in SSNIT's account as investors in those companies. And so that overall is then audited by the Auditor General's departments and recommendations are made as we have seen in that report. And so he agrees with the fact that since these entities are...
That was James there. We will try and reconnect with him for more details on that going on. Right. So, James, if you can still hear me, SSNIT also spoke about a campaign to enroll more persons onto the scheme. Can you shed more light on that?
Ghana card, we are able to register any worker in Ghana without having to incur the expense of issuing them a SSNIT card, which in the past we used to issue at significant cost to us. So now with the Ghana card, coupled with the availability of Momo, which we are able to now use as a means of remitting contributions, e-levy exempt, we have been able to preach the gospel according to SSNIT, which tells these people that they too can remit contributions because they are now the employer and the employee. So they can remit the contributions of 13.5% of whatever income they are making to SSNIT on a monthly basis, so that 20 years down the line, 25 years down the line, they too can say that they are retired and they are receiving monthly payments from SSNIT, and they can have the assurance that such payments will continue as long as they live. Right now, when we started last year, we had only had about 14,000 people enrolled on the SSNIT the scheme as self-employed persons. Today, we have about 71,000 people enrolled on the SSNIT scheme as self-employed persons. The statistic I gave to the committee was that if I look at the February payroll, which we've just paid, out of some 245,000 pensioners that we paid, only 630, constituting 0.3%, 630, not even 1,000, are people who have retired as self-employed persons.